Okay, regarding the panel I was working on yesterday, I found this lobe of land heading up into the hills to be just too much of an awkward sort of thumb-shaped thing, and I wasn't fond of it. So I decided to shorten this line that I had coming down here, because it just looked like a line. It didn't seem to represent much. And laid in a few little bits of color here, so that it felt as though the hill side of the hill crest was going off in this direction and then made a U-turn and came down. That broke that shape up nicely. I'm very happy with that now. Also, raised the value on these little bits of trunk showing, and put a little bit of ultramarine blue and a hint of burnt sienna in the foliage of the trees. Mostly ultramarine blue, so you know it's when you see it in real life, you'll perceive it as a different blue again than it was, and I'm happy with it now. I'm taking it up with me. I'm going to let it dry. And really, you know, for something that was initially intended as a study, I'm not willing to invest a whole lot more hours into it. I think it's more likely that if I do that, the painting will become so weak it'll be worthy of the garbage. So anyway, I'm much happier with that. That a little issue near the top of that one peak kind of bothered me. So let's go to the neighbor here. The one that I was working on previously. The painting was kind of at a point where I thought, well, okay, I need to do a bit of work in the sky, and I need to revisit these clouds, and I need to revisit these hills, and I need to revisit all these various areas. And today I thought, okay, enough of that having to worry in the back of my mind that I have to go back into these places. Let's bring them up to snuff now, or as close as possible to being up to snuff. So I put a little more design into the sky here. It's a little more sculpted now than it was. I'm happy with that. I shaved this tree back a little bit. I pushed out into the sky a little more than I liked. Very small thing, but bothered me. And we've gone with autumn colors. Like I see, we were really just turning into an Ontario scene here. Algonquin Park area, what have you. So that's where that's sitting. A little bit of cobalt blue and alizarin crimson and white in these back hills gave it a little bit of texture. And here we're looking at, you know, those two colors, but add yellow ochre and a little bit of white, and then get away from the blues completely and go into yellow ochre and more alizarin crimson and white as an overlay on these. Happy with that. Now this slice of light across the water, I've upped the ante on that. I've pretty much gone as high a value as I can on that one slice of water. That makes it pop a lot more. I like it. I may still go a little stronger yellow in some of the bush right around here, because I like this colorful, high value, high chroma, impacting against what will be quite dark trees. These won't all be dark, but certainly the one adjacent to these will be some of the darkest, some of the lowest values. Put a couple of strokes in the water down here as well, but anyway, that's minor stuff. These rocks in the foreground, this bedrock bench, you know, this is a little bit weird looking here, and you know, they're coming into their own now, let's put it that way. A few strokes at a time, here and there, some thoughtful ones, and while I've been working on this up here, you know, if something occurs to me somewhere else, I'll just take a brush, grab some paint, and put it in. And then ignore it and go back to what I was doing. So all in all, I'm very happy with how this is coming. It's a very smooth painting. It's quite reminiscent, in my opinion, of members of the Group of Seven. You know, sort of like a cross between Lauren Harris, A.Y. Jackson, and Tom Thompson. But not exactly. Anyway, it's pretty soft. The whole thing was very weak, and I was happy to give it some visual texture by laying on some bits and bobs of bits and pieces of higher value and warmer color. Yeah, the whole thing's coming into its own. That's it for me for the day, more or less. Well, it's not quite. I'm probably going to play on this tree and maybe work our way up. And I may put the odd little scratch in the rocks too. But suddenly, we'll fill in areas, and then it seems to come out of nowhere that I realize, wow, this painting's almost finished. So it's really not that far from that, even at this point. Have a good weekend, guys. See you later.